Big bro don't give a shit. Big bro's omnipotent. Big bro don't give a shit.
Hi, thanks for joining. That's Dystopia, Allergic to Bullshit, featuring JT33. You can find that music and all the music we play. Go to infiniteplainsociety.com. Everything there is linked. It's a hub. All right, it's now midnight Eastern Time. Phones are open, 833-311-1984. Mostly open topics. There are a number of things I want to address. Some interesting information came across my desk here. The other day I incorrectly stated that the conspiracy is that Michael Jackson faked his death and was subsequently spotted wearing the skin of Dave, who's one of his friends. Well, no, it turns out that no, the theory is that Dave is a disguise that Michael Jackson wears. So it's not totally Hannibal Lecter material here, but the story is this. Yeah, he appropriated the persona, the identity of someone he was known to be friends with as a perfect cover to then go on TV and, do the duper's delight thing, which has to be part of the big ritual that they all do. I mean, they all do this. Again, phones are open, numbers on the screen if you want to call in. I'm going to check and see if I have any voicemails. I am trying to get to a lot of the messages I've missed. And if I see interesting comments on any of our 50 YouTube channels, I will usually screen cap them and put them up in the Minds account for those of you who are interested in seeing. For example, here's a comment regarding our investigation into Shazam, the Mandela effect that isn't a Mandela effect. It's just a movie title that the Mandela affected got wrong. And as usual, they don't take responsibility for making a mistake. They blame the universe. So this is a comment from Infinite Plane Radio.
Hey, I wanted to talk about this GameStop stuff a bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means. And did you happen to catch yesterday's live stream about where we mentioned at the end the peculiar resemblance between the GameStop guy and the CEO of Robinhood?
Yeah, I saw that. I feel like a lot of this stuff is put out there just to kind of gaslight us as conspiracy theorists and be like, oh, this is so obvious, but really no one's going to listen to us because we're saying, crazy shit like that, even though it might be true.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because you have this legitimate criticism of what is obviously a psyop, probably to scapegoat freedom in some way. And yeah, they have obviously the same clown playing both roles. And if you pointed out, you're the crazy one. The ultimate in gaslighting.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say was this whole GameStop thing, it kind of reminds me of Occupy Wall Street. And so I go on Facebook and I see all my liberal friends posting about how the little guy's getting at the big guy on Wall Street. So I kind of already smell that this is like a psyop because those memes are going viral. But the point I want to make is the guy on Wall Street really isn't our enemy. It's the government regulators that are bailing out the Wall Street hedge funds and working with them, to corrupt the free market.
Great points. I mean, I've looked into Occupy Wall Street. I hadn't made the correlation, but I can see where you're getting at. If their argument is the 1% have hoarded too much of the wealth and it needs to be redistributed. It's this Marxist concept that they got it through some kind of a crime. They deprived the rest of it just by owning it. And yeah, they're largely scapegoated, the 1%ers. And I haven't seen that in the rhetoric, but it wouldn't surprise me if this wasn't some sort of digital Antifa.
Yeah, I see it as just a misdirection of where we need to focus our energy. Like I said, it's really the government regulators, and what I see is it's the poor people going after the rich people, when really, they may be more scumbaggy than us, but really, there's some people up there that are just trying to navigate through the game and get to somewhere where they can actually do something. And
Right. I think we should not be demonizing the so-called rich. And this is something that I also think pertains to the QAnon line of thinking, where they're able to scapegoat some group that they never meet and they can't defend themselves. And they build this case that all of our problems can be ascribed to that group. And if we get rid of them, society's better. And what they're doing is they're definitely conflating criminality with the normal due course of things. And so, again, they're definitely blaming the free market for what the government intervention is responsible for, and the free market always gets blamed.
What did I say?
But
Anyway, I can't remember what I was gonna say, but I just wanted to drop a solution because we always talk about.
hey, one second here. I mean, we appreciate you keeping Grandma safe by wearing multiple masks, but you're kind of muffled. But yeah, I want to hear your
Oh,
suggestion.
sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, so the only solution I really see to everything that's happening is entrepreneurship. Honestly, the only way I can see us, getting away from mask mandates and I just feel like the future is you being enslaved by your employer, and you're not allowed to speak out like on Facebook or anything about your real political opinion. You got to wear your mask. You got to show up on time. You know what I'm saying? Like the only way I see it out is to start your own business.
You know what? That's a great point. In fact, I was speaking with someone about this today, how if you play into it and you act the victim, you quarantine, you cover up your face with multiple layers of cloth or whatever, if you go through it and you literally just give up on life, well then you're playing into the WHO's global Munchausen syndrome by proxy operation, which is what it is. They want you to be sick and defeated. And you're right. The answer to this is to be an entrepreneur, to become independent so that you're not even worried about what the government tells you can and can't do, because
Exactly.
and that is the solution, instead of waiting for the storm, which apparently it's going to happen on March 4th. Any thoughts on that?
Oh man, I don't know. Like the way I see it is, if there's people behind the scenes doing something, like okay, that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, we still got to keep doing what we can. That doesn't mean we don't sit around and do nothing. Like I want to say it's called the QAnon supporters. I live in California, and they closed down the beaches. We didn't have to vote to get the beaches back. The way we got the beaches back is we went out and we civilly disobeyed. They